Imagine living in a small village during the medieval era, where life was harsh and demanding. Most of the people in this village were peasants, and many of them were serfs. Serfs were peasants who were bound to the land owned by a lord. They had very little freedom and were required to work the land in exchange for protection and a small plot to grow their own food. Every day, the peasants would rise at dawn and begin their long day of work. They spent most of their time in the fields, planting, tending, and harvesting crops. The work was tough and required a lot of physical effort. Peasants used basic tools like heavy plows, sickles, and hoes. The plows were pulled by oxen, making the task slightly easier, but it was still backbreaking work. In addition to working the fields, peasants also took care of livestock. Cows, pigs, sheep, and chickens were common animals on their small farms. These animals provided essential resources such as meat, milk, wool, and eggs. Taking care of livestock was a daily chore that added to the peasants' already heavy workload. Despite their hard work, peasants often faced challenges like poor soil quality and unpredictable weather. A bad harvest could mean hunger and hardship for the entire village. Yet, they worked tirelessly, knowing that their survival depended on their efforts. The homes of medieval peasants were simple and often cramped. Most peasants lived in one-room houses made from materials they could find nearby, like wood, straw, and mud. The roofs were thatched, and the floors were typically made of packed earth. Inside, there was a central hearth for cooking and warmth. Furniture was minimal, with perhaps a wooden table, benches, and a few chests for storage. Privacy was a luxury they couldn't afford, and entire families shared the same space. Peasants' diets were basic and repetitive. Bread was the main staple, made from grains like wheat, rye, or barley. They also ate porridge made from oats or barley, and vegetables like cabbage, onions, and beans. Meat was rare and usually only eaten on special occasions. Dairy products like milk and cheese were more common, but still not abundant. Hunger was a constant threat. Poor harvests, harsh winters, and livestock diseases could lead to food shortages. Malnutrition was common, and the physical demands of their work made it even harder to stay healthy. Despite these difficulties, peasants showed incredible resilience and found ways to make the most of what they had. The church was a central part of a peasant's life. It provided spiritual guidance and a sense of community. Every village had a church, and peasants were expected to attend services regularly. The church calendar was filled with religious observances, including Sunday masses, feast days, and holy days. These events were a welcome break from daily work and a chance to connect with others in the village. Peasants were also required to give tithes to the church. A tithe was usually 1/10 of their produce or earnings. This added to their financial burden, but it was seen as an important duty. The church used these funds to maintain the building, support the clergy, and help the poor. In addition to its religious role, the church also provided basic education. Monasteries and convents were centers of learning where monks and nuns copied manuscripts and taught reading and writing. While most peasants remained illiterate, the church played a key role in preserving knowledge and culture. Amidst their hard lives, peasants looked forward to festivals and holy days. These occasions were a time of joy and celebration. Religious festivals like Christmas and Easter were particularly important. Christmas was celebrated with a 12-day feast known as Yuletide, filled with special church services, communal meals, and entertainment. Easter, marking the resurrection of Jesus Christ, was another major festival with religious ceremonies and feasting. There were also secular celebrations tied to the agricultural calendar. Harvest festivals, like Lammas and the Feast of St. Michael, were times to give thanks for a successful harvest. These events included communal feasting, music, dancing, and games. For peasants, these festivals were a chance to relax and enjoy life, even if only for a short time. Life for a medieval peasant was a constant struggle for survival. They faced many challenges, including harsh weather, poor harvests, disease, and social inequality. Yet, they showed remarkable resilience and determination. The weather was one of the biggest challenges. Medieval farming depended heavily on good weather. Droughts, floods, and storms could destroy crops, leading to food shortages and famine. Peasants had to develop strategies to cope with these uncertainties, like crop rotation and planting a variety of crops. Disease was another constant threat. Epidemics like the Black Death could wipe out large portions of the population. With limited access to medical care, peasants relied on traditional remedies and local healers. Despite high mortality rates, communities managed to survive and rebuild. Social inequality was also a defining feature of medieval society. The feudal system created a strict hierarchy, with peasants at the bottom. They were subject to the authority of the lord, who controlled the land and dictated their obligations. The legal system was often biased in favor of the nobility, leaving peasants with little recourse for justice. Despite these hardships, peasants played a crucial role in sustaining the medieval economy. Their labor provided the food and resources needed by everyone, from the nobility to the clergy. The agricultural surplus produced by peasants allowed for trade and the growth of towns and cities. Peasants also formed the backbone of medieval armies. During times of war, they were called upon to serve as foot soldiers. Their resilience and endurance were invaluable on the battlefield, and their contributions were essential to the defense and expansion of medieval kingdoms. The resilience of medieval peasants was rooted in their sense of community and mutual support. Villages operated as tight-knit communities, where neighbors helped one another in times of need. Communal activities, like building and maintaining infrastructure, reinforced social bonds and fostered a sense of collective responsibility. In the end, the life of a medieval peasant was marked by hard work, limited freedom, and constant challenges. Yet, despite these hardships, peasants were the backbone of medieval society. Their resilience, resourcefulness, and sense of community enabled them to endure and persevere through the difficulties of their existence. The story of medieval peasants is a testament to the strength and endurance of the human spirit in the face of adversity. The story of medieval peasants is not just a tale of endurance, but also one of deep humanity. It is a reminder that even in the most challenging circumstances, people find ways to support each other, to laugh, to celebrate, and to dream. Their resilience, passed down through generations, laid the foundation for the society we know today. As we conclude this journey through the life of a medieval peasant, let us carry forward the lessons of their resilience and community. Their struggles remind us of the strength inherent in the human spirit, the power of unity, and the importance of finding joy and hope even in the darkest of times. The story of the medieval peasant is not just a chapter in history. It is a timeless testament to the enduring strength and spirit of humanity. In our modern world, where comforts and conveniences abound, it is vital to remember the sacrifices and hard work of those who came before us. Their lives, though filled with unimaginable challenges, were also rich with the values of perseverance, community, and faith. Let their legacy inspire us to face our own challenges with the same resilience and to cherish the bonds that hold us together. Thank you for joining us on this journey. May the story of the medieval peasant continue to remind us of the enduring power of the human spirit and the importance of supporting one another through every trial and triumph.